I got to figure out what's going on with that, why it always loops back around. John, hear you there. Bases dropped on another round of SDH AM. It's a Thursday, which means it's Thursday Thoughts. And we got a lot of thoughts on a bunch of different things. We've got a lot of competitions going on. One that was late night last night. We've got highlights. Unfortunately, no post has surfaced yet, but we'll let you know how it got to the end result that it did. So CONCACAF had 2 yesterday to go with the 2 from the day before. And Champions League had 2 yesterday to go with the 2 from the day before. Europa had 1 yesterday to set up the 3 today. Conference League didn't have any yesterday to set up the 4 today. So we'll have reviews and previews of everything going on. Max Anderson set to join us coming up at the bottom of this hour to start opposition research as we get ready for anything and everything going on. Chicago Fire, Atlanta United. We got to find out state secrets about how Chicago pinned in Nashville last week, because after Chicago for Atlanta and after Nashville travels to Mexico, they come back next weekend, and so it's Atlanta and Nashville. So by the transitive property of soccer playing, we get to find out about Nashville and figure out tired. And next week we'll have Lucas Panzica on to talk about Nashville and how tired they are and what their lineup might look like and all the things as they head into the matchup with Atlanta coming out of CONCACAF Champions League. So that's hour number 1. So it's CONCACAF, it is Champions League, it is Europa, it is Europa Conference, it is Max Anderson. That's hour number 1. Hour number 2, Nino had a family matter to take a bit of a hiatus from us for this week, and so we're going to cover Libertadores and Sudamericana in hour number 2. Because there was a lot that happened yesterday. So we're going to go over all the results there, get you ready for what's going on in Sudamericana and Libertadores, and we'll get you through all the other news of the morning. Nico Moreno is going to join us last half hour. We'll start our preview of everything else going on in Major League Soccer, and that's going to get us through to the end of the show today. Just a reminder quickly, tomorrow, Steve Cangelosi is going to join us. He will be our 10 o'clock interview for Apple TV, and we will get his thoughts on what's going on with Charlotte and Nashville, considering that he and Danny Higginbotham are the Saturday Showcase on Apple TV this week. So the Kanji Man is going to join us at 10 tomorrow, and we might have someone else join us either early or late because of something that I got that we have to have an official presentation for. So someone else from Apple and the Apple Cruise, who works also with other leagues in other divisions doing play-by-play and color. And just to kind of give you an idea, he was in Atlanta last week with his Apple partner, who I need to catch up with to find out about his book, and I've got to have him on. So we got some stuff going on next couple of days. Hopefully we can catch up with Greg Garza and find out what's going on with our friends at Beyond Goals Mentoring. So tomorrow is going to be previewing things and talking about Charlotte and talking about Nashville. Kanji Man is going to join us, and that's going to be tomorrow as a part of the morning show. So today is all the cup stuff, catching you up on what happened last night and getting you ready for what's going on today. Now, morning Abby, morning Ricky, morning Ropes. Okay. So Ricky, with the gossip, rumor, and innuendo this morning, Argentina playing 2 pre-World Cup friendlies at A&M and Auburn. Argentina at Jordan-Hare. Oh, wow. Oh, that's going to be, if that happens at 10 o'clock Eastern, Ricky, we got to start hour number 2 with our SEC report. Okay. Put a flag in that one. So definitely teased by the schools. Okay. So hang on. All right. So I need to see this. So we're going to check and see what's going on. So War Dam, Argentina, I guess. So Auburn University. Okay. All right. Very wallpapery Wednesday, national champs. See, now that's the other thing. Separately, since it was an Iron Bowl for a wheelchair basketball national championship, we need the War Dam Wheels T-shirts. So that to me is something that has to happen. And okay, so Jordan-Hare taking the global stage. Check back at 9 a.m. tomorrow to see what the world is talking about. # War Eagle. Okay. So now I see the tweet with which you are referring. Okay. So, we'll keep an eye on the Auburn Tigers on the Twitters. I don't necessarily care about Kyle Field, but we will. Yes, Abby, you should stop at Buc-ee's. Abby's question: should I stop at Buc-ee's? Of course you should. All of the different candy, all of the banana pudding, chocolate pudding, banana pudding. Yes, you can get all the drinks you need. Yeah, so there's plenty to get into. You got all the breakfast stuff because you're in a breakfasty. Yeah, I think you're in the breakfast window, so you can have a lot of the good breakfast food that's there, a lot of the sugary breakfast food that they have, and as Ricky says, the answer, it's never no. So that's key as well. So yes, you should go to Buc-ee's. You probably could get the petrol a little cheaper than you could otherwise, but the answer is always yes, never no. Ricky is correct on both accounts. Okay, well, yeah, so obviously still no bread for Abby since we're still in Passover, but then go get the banana pudding or the chocolate pudding. Something completely and totally just fattening and unbelievable and out of meal. So, yeah, there's plenty to get. Don't have to have any bread. You don't have to go down that aisle, but there's still plenty to play with without question. But the answer is always yes. Should you go to Buc-ee's? You should fuel up, at the very least, your automobile, if not yourself, because there's plenty of different ways to do that. So, yes, Buc-ee's is an absolute yes. And I imagine that if you're heading back this way, that it is, well, then just take the vanilla wafer out and then give it to somebody else. I know. Then chocolate pudding, then. How about that? Okay. So, plenty to play with. Abby, go fuel up the car and then fuel up the people, and then you'll be on your way. I think you've got to be at the one in if you're heading back this way, it's got to be the one in Warner Robins, right? Just checking. So Abby is listening to us live this morning, and so she is on her way back, and she is sampling Buc-ee's on her way back in, as she should, as we all should in these situations. Oh, you're heading to Florida. So then southbound, they're building one, by the way. They're building one in Monroe County, which is on your way to Macon. So they're building one in Monroe County. So it gives us an excuse between Atlanta and Macon to pull off to the side of the road, probably within the next year, to go to the Buc-ee's that will be there off I believe it's the Rumble Road exit in Smar off of 75. So that's being built in Monroe County. Boy, is Mary Persons really going to be a popular place. So, yes, Buc-ee's, Monroe County, currently being built. And I think it's just inside the county line, too. And so if you're heading south, then they're heading to Florida, then it's probably the Warner Robins one. Just pull off to the side, fuel up the car, fuel up the person, make sure you got plenty, and just get down there safe. So, all right. So Abby is making us all jealous this morning, pulling off at the Buc-ee's. All right. So opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. What we like to do, start your day with the most important stories in the game and the right way to start your morning. Black Pitch Coffee, part of the SDH community, showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try their home blend made with beans from Brazil and Guatemala, heavy-bodied, notes of walnut and semi-sweet chocolate, and a rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff, powered by Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. If you haven't seen it, it looks like the Colorado Rapids are rebranding. And this would be, so let's see, for the 37th time in club history, it is a chance for Colorado Rapids to rebrand. And we probably should check up with our friend Matt Pollard and find out what's going on there. So it is the lead story with our friends at Burgundy Wave and among other places. So the Rapids are reimagining their crest and club branding after a fan survey. Currently, it is the I don't even know what to call it. The 442 diamond crest that's got Colorado Rapids and the soccer ball, and the soccer ball is kind of embedded in the Wasatch Mountains, and it's got the 96 underneath it. Probably should ask Cello Balboa what he thinks about this. But there was a December fan survey, and in Colorado, in Commerce City, the One Club, One Legacy initiative, and we talked about this back in December when this was brought up about the fan survey. So now apparently they are going to reimagine the club's crest and branding as a part of that fan survey. Burgundy Wave confirmed that the club name will not change. It will still be Colorado Rapids. The main color will be burgundy. Crest and other visual identity will be updated. According to Haley Dermer, the Rapids chief business officer, the Burgundy Boys will stay the Burgundy Boys. 5,000 people responded to the survey or participated in interviews or focus groups. Majority of the fans said Burgundy is a core part of the club's identity. 90% of the fans identifying with the name Colorado Rapids, a little over half, 55%, were open to updating the crest. Journal of Sports Management says it's typically around 25%. So if 55 is more than 25, you would think that the majority of the folks that were engaged in said survey were interested in updating said crest. So name can't change. You don't want to do anything like that. You don't want to do like Denver Soccer Club, like our friends at Burgundy Wave suggested. Burgundy is, given the etymology of the word Colorado, story behind it, given the club is called Rapids, colors have to stay the same or go back to original green. Crest could go with an update. So clubs saw similar feedback across demos, uncommon in these surveys. So basically, socioeconomics, ethnicity, presumably, how long you've been a fan, across the board. Across all the demos, they were like, yeah, half the folks were like, yeah, you need to change this. So according to Burgundy Wave and our buddy Matt Pollard, having that kind of symmetry with your demos, I can't believe I'm using all of these words in one sentence, but all of that seemed to be heading down the same road. They're like, yep, this is what needs to be done, and change the crest. So apparently the fan base is aligned. And then Dermer told Burgundy Wave there will be a reimagination of the crest. It's going to look very different. I only just saw the first initial sketches. We said back to the drawing board. Whoops. Quote, when you look at our logo compared to all the other crests in MLS, it takes a minute to find it. That's problematic. You hear the phrase forgotten franchise a lot. Dermer said color palette could be changed, different shade of burgundy and or blue. Outer shape of the crest is unique, doesn't stand out. Staff at the club admired the process and the result that NYCFC had in designing their crest in Seattle when they had their evolution 3 years ago. Dermer said, whatever we do will be incredibly us, incredibly Rapids. That's one of the things missing. Fans say if you look at our crest, nothing that you see there that's Colorado other than the word Colorado. Seems to be a bit problematic. Dwayne Brown from DNVR says all the time the club does a great job of being Colorado, but they haven't done a good job of incorporating rapids. Crest has mountains, but where's the water? Part of why the Headwaters kit was received so well because, frankly, quote, it was time for rapids, end quote, according to Brown. And so fan survey was the first measurement. Fan involvement is the second measurement in measured twice, cut once. So you wonder how much the fans are going to be involved, and the club doesn't want this just to be a marketing ploy, obviously. And so now you have all of the secondary kit for the calendar, once again, changed 27-28. May not be a new kit launched for the 27 shorted season for the sprint. And so the Headwaters kit already in development for the new substitutions. So as they're developing it, don't anticipate a new kit for the sprint season, at least according to Matt Pollard and our friends at Burgundy Wave. Anticipate a new kit and a new logo, new crest for Colorado coming up, say, for the first time that they align with the world calendar, the Soccer Julian calendar, I guess. So not for the sprint season, but for 27-28 fall to spring for that one. That's probably when you're hunting for it. Dermer says expect new kits and other merchandise to align 28-29. So it's going to take that much longer. So not for the first flip over in the Soccer Julian calendar, but the second. More merch catered to women according to the around the World Cup break. Changes to premium seating in July. And that also, it could be Summit Club, 2 home games in. Things are going well, according to our friends at Burgundy Wave. So a new crest in Colorado. And if you believe footy headlines, then it also appears that RSL's third jersey has been leaked, and their jersey, the third one at Footy Headlines, has the old school font with the it's not this the lowercase the lowercase in the manuscript lettering, and the E is not the same capitalized font that we see in the R, the A, and the L in Real. E is its normal manuscript self. Everything else is somewhat capitalized. You have the Wasatch in the background, and so it looks really cool. I mean, it still is the cobalt with your base, but if you believe Footy Headlines, third jersey is going to be out for RSL, and it looks kind of cool. So we had jersey news this morning when it comes to all of the rebrands and stuff officially. So that was the official term there involving what is going on. So new stuff in Colorado. Looks like it's going to be happening. They're going to take their time with it, but they got all their fan surveys back, and they're like, yeah, we need to do something different because the logo is hard to find. You see Colorado, you see the word rapids, you see mountains, but you don't see river, because if you're rapids and you see a mountain, that doesn't really mesh. So it looks like Colorado's changing their crest again. And so we'll see what happens there over the next little bit. RSL looks like they've leaked their third jersey. Looks kind of cool. I'm not buying it, but for those that are RSLians, then you probably will when it comes out as the third jersey later this year. So that's opening kickoff. Folks are changing their things. Opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. We start our day with the most important stories in the game. Right way to start your morning. Black Pitch Coffee, part of the SDH community, showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try their home blend made with beans from Brazil and Guatemala, heavy-bodied, notes of walnut and semi-sweet chocolate, and a rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. By the way, once again, if you're listening here, you're watching here, you're hanging out with us in the morning, Morning Espresso is your natural next step. And we reference it a lot. It's found in your inbox one way. It is something you can listen to on your favorite podcatchers, or you can hang out with it and listen to it or watch it on your YouTube, on the SDH YouTube channel. It is the morning newsletter that Jason puts together, presented by our friends at Oglethorpe University, and it gives you all of the stuff from a news perspective that you might have missed overnight, and some stuff that you might have missed also after we went off the air yesterday afternoon. Everything you talk about here on SDH AM, newsletter goes deeper every morning on Morning Espresso. Already in your inbox if you subscribed. If you're not, soccerdownhere.net. You go to the website, and you go into the read section. You're on the list. That's all you got to do. You sit there, you hit soccerdownhere.net, go to read, scroll down, literally a box pops up. You enter in your email address, and you'll get something from the soccerdownhere.beehive, BEEHIIV.com. And so that's where our newsletter is housed, and you can get that every day. All of the news, all the things, all the stuff, all of Jason's observations as well to start your day. You go to soccerdownhere.beehive.com or just go to soccerdownhere.net. Pick up the Morning Espresso newsletter, listen to it, watch it, be a part of it in all of its forms, and that way you get all the stuff. You get all the stuff, people. That's how it goes. And once again, that's Morning Espresso presented by our friends at Oglethorpe University. And as always, thanks to them for being great partners with us, whether it is the university itself or John Aiken and the Future Star Soccer Academy and Oglethorpe in general for being great partners with us when it comes to what we want to do when it comes to covering Oglethorpe University and all the things that the Stormy Petrels bring to the table on a daily basis. But we can't thank them enough for being the main presenting sponsor for the Morning Espresso newsletter brought to us every single day that Jason is up and around, and it is now gone daily, like literally Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week. You can get Morning Espresso now, especially since we're heading into this cup that the world is chasing, and there's always going to be news to talk about, especially on the weekends. So 7 days a week now, especially in the World Cup cycle, you can pick up Morning Espresso presented by our friends at Oglethorpe University. So very, very cool stuff from them. And Jason's writing is off and running as we go here every single day. All right, Max Anderson coming up in a couple of minutes, and we will break it all down, and we will take a peek at what's going on here. Okay. So, okay. All right. So now Nico Moreno has pushed himself to tomorrow at 10:30. All right. So then we'll have Nico come in tomorrow at 10:30 as well. Tomorrow, sure thing. All right. So instead of Nico coming in at 10:30 this morning, Nico's going to come in at 10:30 tomorrow morning. He and the boss are heading to Pullman. They're trying to get out of the house to go see the youngin in the Palouse. So that means that Nico is going to be joining us at 10:30 tomorrow. So it's going to be hopefully Beyond Goals Mentoring tomorrow at 9:30. Steve Cangelosi at 10. Nico Moreno at 10:30. And so for after Max Anderson, hour number 2 is you and me. We'll break it all down and we'll let you know what's going on. So literally, Nico just sent me the note. And so Nico Moreno joining us tomorrow at 10:30 after Steve Cangelosi. So that's hour number 2. It's going to be all MLS all the time tomorrow. So we'll have that going on. Here we go. All right. So like I said, there's a lot of cup stuff to get into. There's some stuff to get into overseas involving Leicester, and I'll get you into that. So we'll probably do that before we head into Max Anderson, just to kind of give you something to keep an eye on. And Ricky is going to keep an eye on the Auburn website for us, and we'll find out what it looks like with Auburn and Jordan Hare and Kyle Field in Argentina. That's a funky mix. That is a funky mix. But let's get into the Leicester thing here just a little bit. Once again, we'd mentioned that they were in trouble in PSR, and they appealed their penalty because, frankly, right now they are in the relegation zone and need all the help that they can get. And the appeal was denied. So you now have Leicester, who could be staring back-to-back relegations right in the face. And the Svidovana Praba family, they think of Leicester as, it is part of their family makeup, and it is something that is always going to be there for them and with them, because they have this attachment to the Leicester fan base. And so I want to get the particulars here so I don't mess it up. But Leicester, once again, they are now staring back-to-back relegations in the face because of the points penalty being upheld, and they are in the relegation zone in EFL Championship right now. So yesterday it came out, failed in their appeal against the 6-point deduction imposed for breaching spending rules, relegated once again at the end of both 22-23 and 24-25, challenged an independent commission's decision to recommend the penalty for the offenses committed under the EFL profit and sustainability rules for the 3-year period up to 2024. Premier League statement basically says that the decision was upheld by an independent appeal board. Club were found by the commission to have breached DFL's profit and sustainability rules for the period ending season 23-24. Club appealed that decision on a number of grounds, including the power of the commission to recommend the points deduction as well as the level of sanction. These were dismissed by the appeal board. Basically, Leicester was like, well, you don't have the power to do that as an independent commission. And the independent commission was like, well, yeah, we do. Appeal board also dismissed a challenge by the Premier League, which was limited to the commission's decision not to increase the sanction on the club as a result of its breach of the club rules regarding late submission of annual accounts. They're in 22nd right now, 1 point from safety, 5 fixtures to go. Portsmouth have a match in hand, and Leicester says they are now going to focus on the results on the pitch for the remaining 5 matches. We'll get into the championship and let you know what else is going on there coming up in just a bit. Okay, it is 8:30 Central Time, or as the boss calls it, God's time zone. And so the man is properly hydrating, and when we appreciate that, because we want safe guesting, we want properly hydrated guests. Time for opposition research. We bring in our friend Max Anderson, play-by-play voice of said Chicago Fire, and it is an opportunity for us to catch up with Big Max. Sir, do you have where are your 4-legged producers, sir?
I got what I refer to as my assistant. My golden retriever sits right next to my chair. So if I move my chair at all, I basically run over her tail, and then the lab makes herself nice and comfy on the couch. So they've got
checking.
their different roles in the enterprise.
Just checking. We, like I said, we have our producers as well, and they are taking care of the rest of the 40-acre lot right now, making sure that security is where things are where they're supposed to be. And the rowdy man may come down here, and you'll hear him clattering.
40 acres, John. Sounds like I got to start a soccer podcast, man.
Oh, I know. It's like it's all out here in the backyard, and he yells at everybody. It's like that's his own personal zone where he'll go out on the front lanai, and if there's anyone within like 7-mile radius, he's like our lightning detector.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody comes through, it's like it's all there, and he'll make sure that no one comes to the front door, or if they do, we'll know about it an hour and a half ahead of time. If anybody's out back and they're doing things they're not supposed to, he'll let you know there too. And so he scares the bejesus out of everybody.
I know the story well.
Reason that we brought you on, other than to discuss our four-legged producers and proper hydration, is opposition research. Sure. And we always like to have you on, A, to talk about Chicago, but B, now that Atlanta is going up to Chicago to take on Chicago Fire this week, you are an absolute no-brainer to discuss what's going on these days. So, he asked, what's going on these days, especially after holding Nashville to a big old-fashioned goose egg last weekend?
It was, I think I said on Twitter, maybe my favorite game I've gotten the chance to call in the last 4 years, and I've called some doozies. Mm-hmm. I think all things considered, what they were able to do against a Nashville side that everyone's calling world beaters, against a team that really, I think they came in 13-2 in terms of goals for and against. The Fire without Ugo Kuipers. Jack Elliott's in the hospital, finally back on the bench, might play 20 minutes, ends up playing 60. You get just the injuries, the sicknesses, the international duty. You got Mbagazeli Mbawazi, who gets back at 5 p.m. on Friday night because of flight problems getting back to Chicago. He plays a full 90. Just the whole story, given the circumstances, was just unbelievable. And obviously scoring the goal 17 seconds in, the fastest goal in Chicago Fire history, was something else, which, John, I know you usually ask me the questions. Did you see the stat on that being on how many other goals have been scored that quickly in MLS history?
I have not, sir. Please enlighten.
Well, the 17-second goal scored by Chicago Fire Soccer. If you had to guess quickly, because I had to guess, how many faster goals have been scored in MLS history?
2.
9.
Wow. What?
Yeah, I was shocked by that too. I said 5 was my guess. And when that came across in the media room, I was shocked by that. After the show, he's already, I was going to say after the show, you can Google it, but you're doing it right now.
No, there'll be none of that. All right. So fastest goals in history, but it's visual. I don't want visual, and I don't want social media. Tim Cahill, fastest in MLS history. Red Bull's topping YouTube. Just give me a file. I don't want video. This doesn't work well. All right. Okay, all right, go for it. Yeah.
Take my word for it. Look it up after the show. I trust Fire Media when they pass that note along. I was shocked by that too, because it happens so quickly. It's one of those things when you settle in for a soccer broadcast, you're settling in. And when a goal is scored 17 seconds in, you got to make sure you're warmed up. You're ready to go. It happened that quickly. Fortunately, I felt like I got a good call off on it, but obviously it's all about me.
Yes, of course. And that's how it should be. It's like Rob Van Dam right here. It's all about Max. So then when you look at, and we'll just take it and we'll roll forward. So lineup was Gutman and Bokazi, Elliott, Barroso, Chris Brady in net. Lod, Avila, Soletros in the midfield, Bamba, Haile Selassie, and Zinkernagel because of obviously the absence of Ugo Kuipers. How different was it outside of the first 17 seconds offensively with this lineup being what it was before subs come in and you sit there and you're changing things philosophically? How different a lineup was this layout going up against Nashville coming in?
Well, not as different, because 3 minutes before first kick, Joel Waterman gets scratched, and Jack Elliott, who was in the hospital a week ago with sepsis or 2 weeks ago, has to start. The whole thing, I didn't even get to that part of the, amazing part of that game, and why it was so fun was you had this whirlwind of between injuries and then what happened to Waterman in pregame, which we still haven't gotten full details on, but I did see, I think he was training individually this week. Just going back and looking at my notes on that. Waterman, Rogers, and Jack Elliott were all training. So I think that's good sign for the three of them. Ugo Kuipers and Chris Mueller were working out individually, so we'll see what that means for them in terms of the game. We'll find out more at Greg Berhalter's press availability later today. But that's the thing. Elliott getting back was super helpful, and that's who you want as a center back. Guy was in the hospital and lost 8 pounds a week and a half ago. The whole story was just really remarkable. And, I think it sounds like things are getting a little bit healthier, but it doesn't seem to matter with this group. Who's healthy, who's perfect. They seem to just have this mentality of figuring out a way, whether it's Lud having to play one of his 3 or 4 positions. Marin Haile Selassie has played 4 or 5 different positions through 6 games. It's really just been an all hands on deck. And while they're figuring everything out and getting everybody healthy, they still have a winning record in the top 5 in the East.
Okay, I have massively dated information. The top 5 at one point were Mike Grella at 7 seconds back in 2015. Mm-hmm. Tim Cahill at 8 seconds in 2013. Dwayne De Rosario at 11 seconds back in 2003. Sebastian Blanco in 2022 at 13 seconds. And Deshaun Brown at 14 seconds in 2013. Like I said, that gets me to the end of July 22. So I still have about 4 more years of research.
But it gives you an idea. It's way more than 2.
Yes. Yeah. So I would not have won the Showcase Showdown. So that would not have gone over well. You look at sepsis. I mean, that's 8 pounds to me. That's unfathomable. There are those of us that would like to do that the natural way, but
absolutely. I'm working on it right now, getting married this summer.
Whoa. Okay. Did not know about this. That we got to, we'll end with that. We'll put a bookmark.
Sure.
So you look at what you've seen so far this year. I think Mbokazi has turned into the early season a folk hero for fans with Chicago. With all the new faces that came in and are integrating with everybody that's there, we talked about outlook and expectations and things like that. But what have you seen from the new folks, the imports that have come in as they've tried to integrate with what Greg Berhalter wants to do?
Well, Mbokazi has advertised. I can think of probably 4 moments through 6 games where I thought for sure a point-blank shot from somewhere between 6 and 15 yards was about to be taken, only for Mbokazi to come out of nowhere and deflect it up for a throw or for a corner or whatever. His closing speed in that final half of a step from an attacker is unlike anything I've seen in MLS. He's quick, but he's not fast. He's aggressive, but he's not reckless. He has, I think, 1 tackle I can think of in 6 games that felt borderline on reckless, and that's after dozens of tackles that have just been so well executed. And then wrap around the fact that he's only 20 years old. I mean, his ceiling is so high. I don't think he's long for the MLS. I think the Fire are unbelievably lucky to have him for as long as he'll be in the MLS. But with his skill, his talent, it's only a matter of time.
And obviously, when you want to make sure that Chris Brady's got good sight lines and can pick up anything, and he has that trust of those 4 dudes in front of him. What has it been like to see Brady so far this season? Because I know a lot of folks gravitate to a 0 or a lack of goals given up on a week-by-week basis. Naturally, they'll look at Brady as your starting point, but obviously you've got the guys in front. What's it been like to see him this season?
Well, anyone that knows Greg Berhalter well, followed his what we call Greg Ball, knows that your keeper is a critical part of, obviously, defense. That's soccer 101, but offense as well, getting the play started out of the back. And as good as Chris Brady was, as promising as he was in his first couple of seasons under Ezra Hendrickson and then Frank Klopas, his play out of the back left a lot to be desired. And as hyped and as excited as people were about Chris Brady, everyone around the team said the next step for him is how can he play with quality out of the goalkeeper position. There was too many times he was launching balls out of bounds, uncompetitive first balls up the middle of the pitch. And that was the biggest difference last year you started to see. You started to see him really control the ball out of the back, make smart plays, which when in the opener against Houston, he looked a lot more like 2023, 2024 Chris Brady. And Greg Berhalter came right out and said he was not happy with the way Chris Brady was as strong and as forceful as I've seen Greg Berhalter be on an individual player in a season plus. And he did it in the first game of season 2. Since then, he's been phenomenal out of the back. And that's going to be the difference for him if he's going to make the U.S. men's national team, which all signs point to a better and better likelihood he's going to be in that goalkeeper room. The improvement out of the back from him was what had to happen. No one had any questions about his abilities as a keeper in terms of his saving ability and his work around the net. It was
Oh, we knew it was coming.
It's garbage day. Sorry, John.
No worries. It's all good.
The question for his development and his growth and his future was going to be how can he develop his skills out of the keeper position?
And did I see correctly that he's passing at 69%? I mean, that's nice, but 69% passing out of the back for a keeper. I mean, that's a heavy increase from years past.
Yeah, it's a key to what they want to do and build up. It's key that he is able to facilitate and get the defensive positioning right by time. There's going to be 2 or 3 a game. They're going to make you pull your hair out as almost being a disaster, but they've been controlled. And so, through 6 games hasn't been an issue. There has not been a play out of the back issue. I say that, and we'll see what happens this weekend. But that was the issue last year, especially in the early going, is you saw some tragic mistakes early on out of the play out of the back that really put them in a hole. And they still found ways to have a nice season. That really felt like the next step was perfecting that play out of the back. Chris Brady is where it starts. You have to have a keeper like Chris. There's several other teams that play similarly, but he had to be better, and he has been. He's been phenomenal. He was team of the match day, had 2 of the more impressive saves he's had certainly this season, and is certainly making his case for the U.S. men's national team.
Phenomenal. Chris Brady, to see his game evolve, because there have also been, outside of his passing wanderlust, there have been those moments where outside the 18, you're kind of sitting there and you're going, okay, could you be a little less aggressive for me and kind of stay inside the 18 when it comes to offenses coming back down in transition? Is he staying at home more than we've seen in the past? Does he put the pith helmet and the machete kind of away off to the side a little bit?
Yes, is the short answer. And then I'll explain. I think when you have complete confidence in your middle 4, right, your center backs, and then your holding midfield, whether that's Saletros, whether that's Jay Davila, to do what they need to do and do it with confidence and do it with skill, you don't have to be as aggressive out of your net. You don't have to worry about being a hero and being Mr. Everything. I think that was the problem at times, even last year, right? They gave up, I think, a club record amount of goals last season too. And defensively, it was still the issues, right? Offensively scored 66 goals, second in the league. There was no issues, but defensively, it was still issues last year. And that comes with confidence. It's something that's sometimes hard to quantify, the confidence that a goalkeeper has and how that can unlock other parts of your game as a keeper and unlock other parts of your team. It's a domino effect. That's those soft skills that a lot of times can have difficulty in terms of analytics picking it up or detecting it. It's something you can see when a keeper's more comfortable in their box.
Outbound as of coming into this year, Barlow, Dowd, Chase Gasper, who retired, Kwame, Brian Gutierrez, Koutsias, Justin Reynolds, Kellen Acosta, Sam Williams, and Amari Glasgow. That was the outbound. The inbound, we mentioned Saletros, Franco, Mwazi, Jason Shukaluk, and since we cover MLS Next Pro here and we do the twos matches, we know what Jason brings to the table. Robin Lod, Josh Cohen, we know what Josh brings to the table, and then Dejane as well. When you look at the folks that have come inbound that we haven't had the chance to talk about, obviously limited minutes and some folks coming off the bench and such, the new faces, what else sticks out with you with the new faces coming in this year?
Yeah, I'll go to Robin Lod, right? I guess we should have known what we were getting in Robin Lod, but it's still really impressive to see. And Martin Haile Selassie actually this week in a piece on in On Tap Sports, my broadcast partner Joe Chat's got to give a plug. I had a great time with Martin Haile Selassie and really talked about the calm nature that Robin Lod brings and what can be a chaotic sport. He brings a level of calmness to the pitch that really, it sounds like resonates. I mean, Martin Haile Selassie called it out directly this week in that piece that Joe wrote and said his ability to keep things calm in chaos has really helped them thrive. Not to mention, he's been asked to play 3 different positions already. Started out right wing because of injuries, then has had to play centrally at times, then had to move over to the left. He's been a consummate professional every step of the way. And every game in a Fire kit, he's got a little bit better. It was kind of a rough first game or two, and I thought he played his best game with the Fire in the most recent one against Nashville.
10 points in the first 6, 3-2-1, the second best defense in terms of goals allowed behind Nashville at 5 goals in 6 matches. When you look at this offense, I know that there probably is an expectation of you've only scored 8 in 6, which is 1 1/3, carry the 3, and hold the line over the top for the remainder of the calculator. When it comes to offense, are the fans still kind of sitting there going, okay, where's the offense with all of the names that we have? We're anticipating more here and it's not here, or because of absences, is there patience?
The second part.
Okay.
I think the second part is the feeling I'm getting and certainly what I'm seeing. And again, when you've got guys that are having to play out of position, game in, game out, they have not had the same starting 11 twice yet. I think they've only been one game where they've had 10 of the 11 the same in back-to-back games. It's constantly moving pieces, which has also forced different formations and different tactics. And that way, they have not been able to settle into what they want to do on a game in, game out basis. They had pretty good health luck last year, especially among the top line. Ugo Kuiper's now dealing with a thing. Philip Zinkernagel had to deal with a thing. Some of the midfield obviously has been in question as well. Franco's expected back after the World Cup break. But there's been guys, again, that have had to play out of position, and that's not an easy thing. It is not like going from X receiver to Z receiver, and as long as you know the routes, you can still run them and run your offense pretty effectively. It is a different thing when you're asking guys to play different positionally, and it's been pretty evident that guys have been working through it. Fortunately, like you said, 3-2-1, 6 points in 10 games, you'll take that.
Yeah, Max Anderson, Oppo Research with us here as Chicago gets ready for Atlanta. Okay, so then I'll bite. Pop quiz time. Who's been playing out of position? Where have they been playing out of position? Formationally, what has been different than what is normally anticipated? So lay out the Webster's dictionary for us here.
Well, the first and foremost, and I mentioned him, but I'll go into detail and deserves his flowers, is Martin Haile Selassie. I mean, just a consummate professional. Went from being a every game starter 3 years ago under Frank Klopas and Ezra Henriksen. Last year, reserve duty, right? I think only started a handful of games, 5 or 6 at the most. Came into reserve duty and maybe 10 more. And I think he played in roughly half the games. Now he's starting basically every game, and he started in a different position every single game, whether it's right back or right wing back, right wing. He started at left wing back. He started at center forward when Ugo Kuipers went out. And every single position he's played this season, he's played well. He has not had a bad game. He hasn't had an average game. Wow. Every single time out there, the guy is just a consummate professional. And I thought, I maybe got a little bit over my skis, according to my color commentator, Joe Chats, but maybe one of his 2 best games as a Fire player happened when he had to play center forward in place of Ugo Kuipers, another new position. And he just keeps getting it done. He's the guy you need to deploy in different positions when you get guys that get bumps and miss, and he just is always available.
So then formationally, this week with Atlanta coming to town and the health issues that and the health issues that are being navigated, what, are you anticipating, with Atlanta coming to town, or do you even have any idea yet?
We're still figuring that out. We'll know a lot more today with Greg's Thursday availability. I think the dream is that solid 2 center back with the solid 2 in front of him of for now, Soletros and Jade Avila. We'll see what that looks like when Franco gets back. There's a lot of questions. Those are good problems to have. For now, you've got some really good pieces, but I think that 4 solid in the back that allows your wing backs to get up, right? Leo Barroso and Andrew Gutman, Atlanta United, well familiar with his game.
Oh, yeah.
When that center 4, that core 4 in the middle can really hold things down and disrupt, it really allows those wings to get up. And at times, Soletros sometimes functions as a 3rd center back at times. He really can flex throughout the field. So when they're humming, they're really putting a ton of pressure up the wings with guys like Barroso, and talk about another guy that I don't think's long for the MLS. It has a very, very bright future, the Portuguese international, still only 20 years old. When those guys are able to get up because they're playing confidently in the middle, this team is really, really dangerous. So that 4 in the back, whether they go 4-3-3, whether they go 4-3-2-1, it kind of can shift throughout the game. But this team's been at their best when they can play that core 4 in the back, allow the wing backs to get up, and allow that middle 4 to really control the pitch.
Is there, and I know that I'm already sitting here looking at transfer windows and things like that, but is there anything missing that Greg Berhalter sits there and goes, I need help here. I need assistance at this particular part, or I just need everybody to get healthy. I'm good standing pat where I am with my roster right now.
I hadn't thought about that yet. We're still pretty early, John. So
Yeah.
give me just a second to think about that. I think as it stands right now, they're going to get a quasi transfer when Franco returns after the World Cup break from his ACL.
Got it.
That now, the caveat there being, I think we all know, even once you're back, it takes a few months to get back, and certainly playing at the level he was playing at the end of last season. That, it seems like something that will come. Certainly monitor several injuries. I don't think anything seems terribly long-term at the moment, but certainly keep an eye on. Defensively, they really shored up center back position. They've got Chris Cupps, who's the great American hope here going forward in terms of a center back at just 17 years old, and a ton of excitement around him. And he's their fourth center back right now. Joel Waterman has had to start a bunch, but that's because either Elliott's gotten injured, Mbawazi has played well, but Waterman's been the third center back. You've got Sam Rogers in the mix as well as your fourth. So defensively, they feel like they're in pretty good shape. Victor Radievich on the wingback spot has really pushed Andrew Gutman, or at the very worst, been a really capable backup on that right wingback. Johnny Dean, we all know and love Johnny Dean.
A little ball of hate, Johnny Dean.
So as I'm talking through it, the conversation's been around Robert Lewandowski, right? That's been the rumor. I've read the same. I know where you're going, John. No one's ever going to say no to that. Do they desperately need that for a run? I don't think so. Would it help them? Sure. Now, that's on paper. What I can't say, I don't know Robert Lewandowski. I don't know this locker room. But I trust Greg Berhalter at this point that he does, right? With his experience, I trust that he can read the room. He knows a lot. And at this point, my trust is in Greg Berhalter. But to put a cap on your initial question, there's nothing I can really point to right now. They've got really good depth when they're healthy. Robin Lood's going to be an option off the bench. I mean, that's an MLS All-Star 2 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. And the Lewandowski was me burying the lead a little bit.
I beat you to it. Sorry, John.
No worries, man. It's all good. Oppo Research with our buddy Max Anderson as we get ready for Chicago and Atlanta. Is there anything from your mind that concerns you? I guess let me ask it this way.
Yeah.
What are you the most confident about from a Fire perspective as Atlanta comes to town, and what concerns you the most as Atlanta comes to town for this matchup?
What I'm most confident in is the Fire's defensive core, which feels insane to say after last season and the way last season went defensively. But it's just been a different team. I mean, 3 clean sheets through 6 matches for Chris Brady. They have looked so much better. And I mentioned those 3 or 4 moments on my opening comment about Mbawazi. Those 3 or 4 moments last year were in the back of the net, and that's been the difference. And so confidence-wise, the defensive core, assuming Jack Elliott's back full healthy, that he's fully recovered from sepsis. I don't know if folks are familiar with it. It is a really tricky thing, because even once you physically feel fine, your body might not be. It's a really strange thing with the blood. I'm not a scientist here. I'm not a doctor. But one of the things that I keep hearing that you have to watch out for is even once you're healthy, you still got to kind of take it easy, because it can relapse quickly or something along those lines. So that's a minor concern, but the fact that he was in full training, really good sign. What I'm concerned about is this feels like a bit of a trap game for the Fire, and I'll explain.
Okay.
You're coming off a massive win over Nashville, which most people didn't think was possible to get a full result, let alone a partial result. You have a ton of confidence. You're a little bit of talk of the league. You've got Chris Brady, team of the match day. Atlanta, we haven't really talked much about the other side of this equation. Tata's going to miss the game. They're coming off consternation, a really rough start to the season by all intents and purposes. So on paper, this should be a MLS team at home, riding high off a big win, and getting healthier. All signs point to this should be a Fire win. I won't say comfortable. Nothing's ever comfortable in the MLS. It should be a Fire win. That is what scares me, right? Anytime the complete reverse of how we went into Nashville. Ooh, man, now Joel Waterman scratch, Elliott off of sepsis, has to play center back. Ugo Kuipers isn't in, Martin Haslasi, and they find a way. So it's really the complete opposite concern I had going into last game, which was underconfidence. Now it feels like almost overconfidence. So this feels like a really important test this week of how clinical and professional this team can be moving forward throughout the rest of the season.
Okay. Like I said, I just wanted to get your thoughts from.
And John, if I could say one more thing as I say that out loud.
Sure.
I think the more impressive thing isn't the fact that if they having beaten Nashville, I think it'd be more impressive if they followed it up with a win against Atlanta. Having said all of that.
Yeah, because you don't want that trap game. You sit there and you're thinking about, okay, we've done great, and then you have the letdown, and then you have a team like Atlanta come to town. But traditionally, for Atlanta going to Chicago, it has been a very, very difficult place to play. There have been some wild results that have happened, whether you're talking Bridgeview or whether you're talking, the spaceship. I mean, it is a place where weird-ish happens when it comes to this particular rivalry. I mean, yes, MBS has its own personality when it comes to this, but Chicago has been a very, very rough place to play for Atlanta United for various reasons and circumstances. And that was why, I wanted to try to pick your brain about your vibe coming off of that Nashville win.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
yeah, I think for Atlanta, first of all, right, you play in a dome versus playing in open air. That's always going to be a huge thing, I think, for Atlanta, no matter where they play. When they play indoors, even on the road, they're going to play better than playing on natural grass at Soldier Field. That is always, in my mind, going to be a tough one. As you say that, I'm looking up the weather for Saturday because I have not looked at that yet. But that can certainly play a part. And according to weather.com, 52. So it's going to be chilly by the time we get to kickoff. It's probably going to be in the 40s by the time we get to kickoff on Saturday. So that's another factor, right? You've got Atlanta coming up to Chicago in the Midwest in April. And that's going to be, looks like 10-mile-an-hour winds for now, but you never know on the lakefront what's going to come. So all of those mix of things, travel on the road in the MLS is hard. Going from a dome to outdoor, artificial to natural, all of those, I think, factors in some combination into being a tough road game traditionally for Atlanta.
No doubt about it. All right. So what is this about you and the marriage here in the summer? What is going on?
I don't know. Did you think I was the one that thought of why can't I do this? There we go. Do you think I thought of these lovely pink flowers? Come on, John.
I mean, you could have an SO that likes to do things in a manner where you're making sure that the surroundings are nice and it's not just sports things.
What's happening? You've around the corner is now my sports memorabilia stuffed in a closet till we get bigger digs. Which probably the next time I talk to you, actually moving next month. So you'll see a different background probably the next time we talk.
Okay. So how did you get a wedding date in the summer? That's always traditionally very tough.
Well, it's funny. So we got engaged last June, and she's a teacher. So we get engaged right after she's done with school. And the way she operates, she went right into planning mode. Okay. And so we got a lot done before the summer was even out. I think we had a date by the 1st of July.
Wow.
So she wanted to get a lot done before she went back to school. I was supportive of that idea. I have contributed ideas. John, as you well know, that's about all you can do in this role. So, but we're really excited. Marrying the love of my life. I can't wait. It's gonna be really fun this summer. And then, actually, before I knew for sure I was going to be back with the Fire this year. The wedding date was scheduled. It's during the World Cup break, but
there you go.
The honeymoon rolls into the first couple of games post World Cup. So I'll miss a couple of games and have a really reliable backup that I'm looking forward to getting an opportunity.
There you go. So like I said, the boss was the same way. We got engaged New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. And because of this thing that we do for a living, she was like, okay, we could do one of two things. We can really go quick and do it in the summer, or we can wait a year, go through American football season and do it in mid-January. And we ended up getting married MLK weekend. and it ended up being the warmest weekend on record
Nice.
for that particular time. And so what that does is that gives everybody that extra day to get out of town and go back to where they were. And
I like it.
so that was how we were, because we were like, okay, so engaged in January, turn around June, middle of soccer season, not really, might not be something to do, but so we deferred, went to January, everything worked out. So, but yes, I was the same way as you. So what if I've got this idea. Okay, cool, great, fine. Just suggestions. They're just kind of guideposts, and I'm drafting off of you. I'm just like, whatever you're looking for, I'm right there with you.
Love
Exactly.
it. Now, John, I gotta ask you.
Yeah.
When can I get you up to Chicago for one of these games? Do I have to beg you? Do I have to
Well,
bribe you with a steak dinner? What do I have to do?
Well, Mike and Jason are coming. So Atlanta, you'll be able to see Mike and Jason coming on Saturday. So they'll be up there. So you get to say hi to Mike and Jason.
Will do.
That's stage one of all of this.
Okay. All right.
So Atlanta United's radio, they always travel. So Mike and Jason will be up there. They're leaving tomorrow to get up there tomorrow night. So they're locked in place, and then they head to the spaceship and everything like that. So you'll say hi to Mike and Jason first, and then you can give me ish behind my back to the two of them when you see them at the press box. As always, my friend, thanks for starting your day there in God's time zone with us for opposition research. Hit the plug for me really quickly.
Yeah, at Max Anderson 1456 on Twitter and Instagram to follow me, and then on WLS for our broadcasts at 890 here in Chicago. That obviously are simulcast for the home game. So Saturday night, if you want to hear the home radio of the Chicago Fire, you can toggle that English radio option and hear me and my partner Joe Chats.
As always, my friend, great to see you. Enjoy the rest of your day, and may the producers continue barking at the garbage man.
Appreciate that. Talk to you soon, John.
See you soon. That's always great to catch up with Max and find out what's going on the radio station in Chicago that is commonly referred to as WLS. That's how we do it. So that's how that goes. Yeah, you have to sing the ID. Larry Lujak, because it was a clear channel station when I was growing up. It would be one of the alarms that I would set. So I would have, I'd always kind of sit there and go, okay, so what can I try and find it? And it would be, I'd listen to Larry Lujak in the morning. Shows you how old I am. Anyway, Max Anderson, always great to catch up with him and find out what's going on in and around the planet and everything going on involving Chicago Fire. So that is your early rundown of opposition research for Atlanta and Chicago. And yes, Max can say hi to Mike and Jason and just make sure that they give me ish behind my back. Okay. So, morning Kefzi. Wow. So we have blue-gray mantle, misspelled, piece O. Let's see. All right. Now, this is what happens when you're kind of paying attention to this. And you're paying attention to the show instead of paying attention to the bots. So we're going to report blue-gray mantle piece O, misspelled mantle. So bots. And so it is a viewer solicitation bot. Solicitation bot. Okay, so that's there. So we take care of blue-gray mantelpiece O. And so differences, expectations are flipped. And I know that a lot of folks that have the history with Atlanta United always remember the 5-1 game that was at Soldier Field. That one's always remembered as a part of the history of this one. You got 3-3 games where it finishes 10v10, all of the things. So and that's why I wanted to ask about confidence and concerns. And it always is traditionally a very, very rough place to play for Atlanta United. Manager head-to-head. Okay, so all right. So KFC. So Greg Berhalter versus Tata Martino head-to-head record. Okay, so let's see if somebody has. Okay, so how did Greg Berhalter fare against Tata Martino in MLS matches? But that's like 2019. So Martino's squads were 4-0-1 in 5 meetings against Greg Berhalter's Columbus Crew sides in 17 and 18. Tito Villalba scored every single Atlanta win in that span. 5 goals amounted more than 20% of his total MLS production since his arrival in 2017. Zach Steffen, the hero in Columbus's best result, which was in the knockout round in 2017. So 4-0-1 when Berhalter was with Columbus. And so 4-0-1 when Berhalter was with Columbus and Tata was with Atlanta United. Let's see. And then you have the Tata versus Greg in international play. See, now this is what I need. I need more than just the MLS head-to-head. So Greg has, and then second year in the league. And like I said, I'm looking back to how it was with Tata and Berhalter 7 years ago. AS 2019. Berhalter already knows the victory feeling against Martino. So let's see. Gold Cup final in 2019. So it was regular season losses knocking them out of the playoffs. And that's it. They only do that. They don't go to the 4-0-1. Oh, so they just go with the one win that Berhalter had against Tata, and that's the only one that they talk about. So literally, that's the only one that they talk about at AS back in 2019. It literally was just that one. They don't talk about the 4 wins that Tata had when he was with Atlanta United and he was 4-0-1 against Berhalter. AS talks about the one loss that Berhalter gave Tata Martino. Okay, so back to U.S. national soccer players not found, error 404. Okay, so as they hold up their jerseys back in 2021, let's see, this is an article as they're going back and forth. Is there anything? 2 sides, 2017, 2018, 2019 Gold Cup. So 5-0-1, 6-0-1, 6-0-2, 6-0-3. So it looks like 6-0-3, and then U.S. and Mexico in a World Cup qualifier in Cincinnati in that game. So 6-0-3, and then the Gold Cup final. So what was it, Gold Cup of 2019 or 2021? 2021. 4 USA-Mexico matches, Berhalter and Martino. Americans have a record of 2 draws and 2 losses. Nations League final, so 4-0-1, 6-0-3, heading into the last one back in 2021. So it was 6 losses, 3 draws, 4 goals scored, 16 goals against. And that was going into that final matchup with the 2 of them in 2021. And it was the more impressive than the Friday night World Cup qualifier back in 21. So, yeah, so it was 6-0-3 heading into that World Cup qualifier. All right. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Look out. All right. So Auburn has announced officially Jordan Hare. Oh, my goodness. Argentina and Iceland. June the 9th at 8:30 Eastern time. Oh, goodness. Yep. All right. So, yeah. There we go. Let's see. So, all right. So I'm sorry. I'm trying to do like 19 things at once. Should be fine if you're tight. let's see. So, all right. So, that and that. So that's okay. All right. So it is officially official. Road to 26, Argentina, Iceland, June the 9th. The official release on the road to 26, according to Auburn. Argentina and Iceland. What am I looking for? Ticket info. How about that? Ticket info on the road to 26. Wednesday, April 15th. So it looks like a promotional code. There's a promotional code attached. World Cup friendly in the 26th. And so, according to Ricky, who has done his due diligence in diving, it was per Auburn's release, tickets starting at $45 and starting on sale in 6 days. Yes. Ricky says yes. It is insane for Lee County. It is insane for Lee County. Morning four card. So Auburn is going to be hosting Lionel Messi. This is insane. Auburn hosting. Oh, what this game has done to us here. Oh, what this game has done. And if I could spell friendly, I could tell the boss. All right, so June the 6th. Seriously, people, this is insane when you think about it. Absolutely insane. Have they officially put together the okay, so they finally did. So as of the top of the hour, they finally did release. Let's see. Argentina, Iceland. I'm distracted, as you can tell. Argentina, Iceland on June the 9th. Unreal. I mean, because there have been times, when you see like the summer series and things like that. Thank you, Ricky. So June the 9th, Argentina and Iceland at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Could you imagine Andy Burcham and Randall Dickey calling this one? Could you imagine if there's a shot on target, or if there's a goal scored by Iceland, or if Messi goes down and there isn't a penalty called or a foul called, Andy goes, "Golly bum," and Randall just keeps talking over him. Could you imagine this? I could. Get Andy Burcham in there to do play-by-play. Andy Burcham, Randall Dickey doing play-by-play of Auburn and Argentina and Iceland. Press conference at 11. Could you imagine, and this goes back to our Buc-ee's conversation, can you imagine? Oh, see, now that would be, this has to happen. You've got to get the Eagle flight. You have to do that. Have everybody have everybody from the Argentine national team sitting there looking up, and they're seeing this has too much to it. Oh, this is fantastic. No pumps available at the Buc-ee's and Warner Robins. Wow. But you have to. Oh my goodness. You absolutely have to make this happen. You have to have. Could you imagine? So the student section, will be full. And and when you've got, say, a penalty kick situation, you have a penalty kick situation heading toward the student section. and then you put the big picture of one of the Eagles up there on that big matrix board. You do that. You do that during a penalty kick situation toward the student section. That would be fantastic. That would absolutely be amazing if that went down. You have Aurea released to get everything started. That would be insane. That would be fantastic. Ricky, you are spot on. You need to have Aurea released going down toward the center logo for this game in June. That should be a non-negotiable. That should absolutely be a non-negotiable. Aurea promoting the Raptor Center, does the whole fly around and everything, and everybody there. And could you imagine the looks on the Iceland national team player faces when they see Aurea going around, and you hear all of the fans that are there, the entire student body, and all of the boosters and everybody sitting there going, and how they traditionally will follow the flight on a game day? You have to have Aurea do this before the game. Seriously, if you have not talked to AD John Cohen, this has to happen. You have to have Aurea do a pre-flight. And I want to see the looks on all of the players' faces when that happens. I mean, seriously, could you imagine, like, Lionel Messi and Thiago Almada, they're kind of looking up, Emi Martinez, he's looking up, and you're seeing, what is this? That would be amazing. I mean, and then you end up with Aubie probably in the end zone, twirling his tail. What you've got to do here is turn this into a complete and total SEC experience. And this has to happen both at Kyle and at Jordan Hare. And I know that we're still waiting on Texas A&M to come up with their official okey doke on this too. So we know that Auburn's official. This we know. Auburn is official on June the 9th. So, all right, so Texas A&M football just has Edger and Cooper, and that happened at the top of the hour. So they haven't said anything yet. So Aggie football, schedule, roster stats, news, maroon and white game. So the news that is posted at 12th Man, last story that was done, the NFF Hampshire Honor Society class, according to the story headlines that are on the A&M website. And apparently softball at A&M had a run rule game against Texas the other day. So nothing from A&M specifically yet. So let me see if I could spell A and M. So A&M. All right. So Texas A&M. I'm going to go to the official university official stuff. Not Texas A&M, Texarkana. And there is nothing on the front page of the university site. You go to the 12th Man, 12thman.com. They have the Lone Star Showdown with Texas and Texas A&M. The latest is last night's run rule win over McNeese. So they don't have any news yet at 12th Man. But you have to. You have to If you are Texas A&M, you have to have the band there. That is non-negotiable. You have to have the band there at Kyle Field. You've got to have the Fighting Texas Aggie band there. You've got to have the core. And you have to have that mix with the Argentine fans, and Ricky is saying that the rumor is it's Honduras as a part of this tour. But you have to have, and at halftime at Kyle Field, you have to have a performance by the Fighting Texas Aggie band. And they have to do their marches where they are all weaving one. Just, put them in if they have summer outfits, which hopefully might be a poly cotton blend as opposed to what we see during football season. You have to have the Fighting Texas Aggie band perform at halftime. Seriously, you have to. Even if they're not allowed on the pitch, and I don't know what the specs are at Kyle, if it's wide enough or if it's long enough. Might be long enough. But you've got to have the Fighting Texas Aggie band perform at halftime. You've got to have the student body do their thing. Because I don't know if you're going to get 108,000 at Kyle Field for Argentina and possibly Honduras. But you've got to. Got to. So Honduras, yeah, okay, so the Federación de Fútbol de Honduras. Okay, so 16 hours ago they mentioned, so if it is Honduras, it is a Honduras-Costa Rica. By the way, the Costa Rica jerseys, those that have been released are amazing. The Federación de Fútbol de Honduras posted something 16 hours ago about their U17s playing Costa Rica's U17s in San Jose. It's the last thing that the FFH has posted as an entity. So the FFH hasn't posted anything yet. And we're still waiting for this opponent at Kyle Field. But you have to. You've got to have the band at halftime. You've got to have the core there. And it's got to be just off the rails. At Auburn, you've got to have Oria fly before the match. You've got to have Oria or Nova's face in the matrix board or the big light board in the student section end zone during a penalty kick. You've got to have these things. This has to happen. We do know once again, Auburn is going to be hosting Iceland at Jordan-Hare June the 9th. Are you kidding me with this? So, yes, we will be chasing after these two universities, especially as we get closer. Shoot, maybe even next week to break all of this down. And see if we can get John Cohen on or someone from operations or something like that. We'll track it down from both schools once the second school makes it official. But you have to have these elements in. And maybe if we talk to the folks quickly enough, we can convince them to have these as elements of the breakdown of this tour. Tickets go on sale 6 days from now. If you're interested in going to the Plains, oh my God, the prices of the hotels. MESS-E and the SEC, people. That's what we're getting. Not just MESS-E, but, Argentina and the SEC. The collision of cultures is amazing. Okay. So Max found them. Okay, the top 10 fastest goals in MLS history. So technically, Zinkernagel's T8. Grella, Cahill, Justin Miram in 2015 for Crew against Red Bulls. Dwayne De Rosario, Sebastian Blanco, Deshaun Brown. We had those. Javier Morales, 15 seconds, 2014 RSL. And then at 16 seconds, Pedro Vite in 23 for Vancouver against Houston. Connor Casey at 16 seconds, 2009 against LA Galaxy. And Philip Zinkernagel against Nashville. So that's your record for the fastest 10 goals in history that Zinkernagel is a part of. And All right, so let me tell the boss. All right, so I'm telling the boss June the 9th. So she has now been officially warned as well. Save us all. But yeah, you've got to do that. You've got to do the SEC things. You have to. Kefsey says, well, Ricky, that is my state secret. Ricky mentions that you might be better off staying in Columbus. Literally, that's what I do. That literally is what I do. I stay in Columbus for all the big football games because it's an hour drive away, and you're there and you're doing the things. So, but yeah, during football season, we stay in Columbus now. We don't have to drive all the way home. We're not staying at Auburn. Drive to Columbus. It's an hour away. You're fine. Kefsey feels like the Argentina rugby and Auburn football synthesis is strong too. Pumas and Tigers, Eagles and Condors. I mean, shoot. Look, Kefsey, I'm going for the gear. Absolutely. Give me the scarf. Give me the game day scarf. Give me the gear. I'll buy the place out. The boss knows it too. So, all right. So we're waiting officially for the Texas A&M announcement that is going to be MESS-E and allegedly Honduras, date TBA, but hopefully that'll happen here during the show. So in trying to sift through what the SEC needs to do when Lionel Messi's coming to town, we did actually have games happen. So yesterday in we'll start Champions League. We'll work our way forward. So Champions League yesterday, sorry, I'm cackling just still at the notion of MESS-E in the SEC. So it's the MESS-E-CEE. There you go. Yesterday in Champions League, it was a couple of number one stunners. And probably the largest stunner on the board, even though Barcelona, sorry, quoting our friends at Shrinking and Ted McGinley. So Barcelona and Atletico de Madrid. Atletico de Madrid, winner at a plus 459 yesterday. At a plus 459, Atletico de Madrid gets the win yesterday in their matchup. They've never played this team Barcelona before. 2-0 win at Barcelona. Club's first victory at Camp Nou since 2006. Barca defender Pau Cubarsí, last man foul on Giuliano Simeone. Yes, same family. Julian Alvarez gets the free kick in. And then you have a red card, also confirmed the narrative of, once again, Hansi Flick's high line, a little too risky. Sorloth scores, first goal in a month. Atletico gets the win 2-0. Revenge for the defeat on the weekend to Barcelona. And the Atleti team bus was ransacked last week. Griezmann asked about it. He says it was a beautiful moment. Then you also had, no real surprise, PSG taking out Liverpool by the score of 2-0. And you look at Kvaratskhelia solo goal in the win. 5-man back line for Liverpool. Kvaratskhelia had a field day. So you had PSG get the win. You had Atleti get the win to go with Bayern Munich and to go with Arsenal. And so, of course, coming up next week, the dates flip. So on Wednesday of next week, this is just to win the match, not to win the tie. Barcelona favored at the Wanda Metropolitano at a minus 118. Atletico de Madrid a plus 300. Liverpool favored at home slightly to PSG at a plus 135. PSG is a plus 160. Then it is next Wednesday, Arsenal with a goal lead on Sporting at a minus 238. Sporting to win the game a plus 600. Bayern is a favorite at home against Real Madrid at a minus 164. Real Madrid is a plus 350. We go from there to the semifinals and so on and so on and so on. So Europa League, we had the one match yesterday, and that leads us into the three matches that are today. Braga and Betis finish 1-1 at a plus 210. Once again, we talk about the juice box purveyors and how they just kind of throw numbers up against the wall like spaghetti. Betis to win and the 90-minute draw both wrapped up at a plus 210. But the draw at plus 210 was what Braga and Betis had today. All three matches are at 3 o'clock. Villa right now at Bologna is a plus 110. Bologna is a plus 275. Draws a plus 225. Freiburg hosting Celta de Vigo, favored at a plus 120. Celta de Vigo a plus 250. And the draws a plus 220. Porto and Nottingham Forest, almost the same numbers. It's like I think they just get to the point to where they're weighed down by all these different competitions. And yeah, we'll just put it here. Same number at the draw as Freiburg and Celta de Vigo. Same number for Forest to win as Celta de Vigo, 220 and 250 on the plus side. Porto a plus 125 at home, favored against Nottingham Forest in leg number 1. Then you have Conference League. That includes Happy to Be Here FC. 12:45, Rayo Vallecano hosting AEK Athens at a minus 110. AEK Athens a plus 320, draws a plus 229. 3 o'clock, 3 matches. Shakhtar Donetsk and AZ Alkmaar. Shakhtar favored at a plus 120. AZ Alkmaar a plus 220, draws a plus 240. Happy to Be Here FC, Crystal Palace. Selhurst Park hosting Fiorentina at a minus 175. Draw is a plus 280. Fiorentina to win is a plus 525. Mainz hosting Strasbourg. Mainz a plus 125. Strasbourg a plus 229. And your draw is a plus 220. So that gets you through Champions League. That gets you through Europa. And that gets you through Europa Conference. Now, last night. CONCACAF Champions Cup. The hemispheric extravaganza continued, and it was a long night for folks that are based in Major League Soccer. Last night, to start things out, Tigres and Seattle Sounders. Tigres would win it by the score of 2-0. It would hinge on a VAR penalty call and a foul inside the 18 that would end up on a yellow card for Nuhu. And then under review, it would be his tackle viewed as a penalty. Correa slots home the penalty at 45 plus 3. It's 1-0 at the break. Then you would end up with Herrera scoring in the 51st. And then an own goal was registered by Jackson Reagan in the 76th. But it was a long night for Tigres going up, or it was a long night for Seattle going up against Tigres in their in the work that they were putting together last night. But it was a 2-0 final. The own goal for Jackson Reagan wiped off the board. But 2 goals on the board. Herrera in the 51st from Gorriarán, and then Correa from the spot at 45 plus 3. Tigres goes on to beat Seattle Sounders by the score of 2-0. Stats on the match. Possession, 57% to Tigres, even with a lead. 4 corners in the match. They all go to Tigres on the night. 68 to 58 in the long pass category. 22 crosses to 6 for Tigres. Crossing accuracy at 364, so that would be 4 out of 11 on average. So a boatload of crosses. And 1 out of 6 for Seattle on the night. In the attack, 22 shots for Tigres compared to 4. Shots on target 4-2. Blocked shots 8-1. Shots outside the 18. All 11 shots outside the 18 for Tigres. 11 inside. No shots outside the 18 for Seattle, 4 outside. 22-4. Tackle success rate, 63.5% for Tigres, 42% for Seattle. Fouls conceded, 31 fouls called in the match, 18 of them for Tigres, 13 for Seattle, 3 yellows on each side. It was yellows for Herrera, Aguirre, and Gorriarán for Tigres. For Seattle, it was Nuhu, Christian Roldan, and Kingston at 90+1. Man in the middle is Juan Gabriel Calderon Perez. And so Seattle's got some work to do. Then you had the nightcap. And the nightcap was exactly that. It had its moments of crazy. And it was Toluca and LAG. Late night at the Estadio Nemesio Diaz. And so your lineups in this one for Toluca, 4-2-3-1. Garcia in net, backline of Gallardo, Pereira, Mendez, and Simon. Franco Romero and Nicolas Castro, who had one of the goals on the night, the two in front of them. Attacking midfield was Ernesto Vega, Jesus Ricardo Angulo, and Elio Castro. And then up top, it was Paulinho. And Paulinho had a very busy night. We'll get into that here in a sec. So coming in, LAG started JT Marcinkowski, John Nelson at left back, no relation, Maya Yoshida, Emiro Garces, and Mickey Yamane, your back four. Midfield three, Edwin Cerrillo, Eric Tommy, Elijah Winder. Attacking three, Harbor Miller, Joao Klaus, and Gabriel Peck. Toluca, wasting no time in this matchup. 12th minute, they get on the board, and we get to hear the dulcet tones of a legend in Los Angeles. It is Joe Totino on the call, courtesy of the LA Galaxy, their own selves in CONCACAF.
Back across the top of the penalty area, collected by Pereira. Near side it goes. Gallardo. Again, Pereira plays it long into the Galaxy defense. Good opportunity for Vega. He scores! Nicolas Castro gets on the end of that ball and sends it home. As Toluca takes the 1-0 lead, and the Galaxy get caught on a long ball into their own defense, and either you're trying to catch the guy offside.
1-0 at that point, so a goal on the board, 12th minute, and you figured that Toluca might be on a roll. Field kind of tilted, and it was one of those where first half was Toluca and a lot of Toluca, and LAG was trying to pick their opportunities to try and work their way in transition to have short fields and be clinical in their chances. 1-0 until the 43rd minute, and I mentioned that Paulinho had a very, very busy night. Here's the first part of that busy night, once again, courtesy of our friends at the LA Galaxy and CONCACAF.
Ball will go left side, Nelson. Here's Cerrillo. Again, Nelson on the left, runs it down. Ahead it goes to Harbor Miller, plays into the corner. Nelson's cross, it'll go backside. Gallardo can't get to it. Yamane dumps it back into the box. Vega with the clearance. First ball as Castro tries to clear to the right side. He does to Nunez. And here comes the counterattack for Toluca. The Galaxy do have numbers back. Nunez on the right, trying to play it on through. Angulo throws to the back post. The shot to goal. Score! Diaz. 2-0 in favor of Toluca, and that one hurts in a big way.
And it did. It was 2-0 at that point. That was the score at the break. And you're thinking that it's going to be a long night. It's going to be a long night for LAG. Didn't turn out that way. LAG found some momentum in the second half, and after it went to 2-0, then LAG found some answers. 66th minute, they cut it to 2-1. Gabriel Peck had a very, very busy night before he was pulled after scoring this one to make it 2-1. LA Galaxy and CONCACAF.
Marco Royce being chased down, plays it in for Gabriel Peck. Peck trying to get the cross away, scores! Gabriel Peck puts the Galaxy in this one as he finds the back of the net in the 66th minute. It's now 2-1 Toluca that is, but Peck gives the Galaxy some life. The away goal has been secured. And the breakaway was started by John Nelson. Thanks to him, he stepped up and won the ball at midfield, was able to find Marco Royce. Royce took up the space on that right channel and then led Gabriel Peck into the area. Peck with his right foot finds the back of the net.
2-1 at that point, but then the busy night of Paulinho continued. He got his brace in the 73rd to make it 3-1. Galaxy not done. Marco Royce, who came in as a substitute 11 minutes after the Gabriel Peck goal, cut the margin again. Once again, Joe Totino on the call.
Gabriel Peck, Yamane back in for Royce. It's tipped, comes into Aude to keep it alive. Royce scores! And the Galaxy pull one back. Marco Royce has an assist and a goal in this one since coming on.
And that made it 3-2. But LAG only holds on to 3-2 for the sum total of 8 minutes. Crazy. Honestly, it was a crazy final 25. Peck scores in the 66th. Paulinho scores in the 73rd to reinstate the lead to 2. Marco Royce scores in the 77th to get it to 3-2. Paulinho scores in the 85th. Final score at the Estadio Nemesio Diaz at 4-2. But LAG has 2 away goals, and they need to keep Toluca in check next week if they've got a chance and they want to try to get a chance to advance out of that and create an El Tráfico situation on the left-hand side of the bracket in CONCACAF. So there's a lot to be decided next week in CONCACAF with the margins being what they are. And you have upper right, a lot to be decided with Nashville and Club America, 11:30. Oh, that is like late night with Hani Mukhtar. April 14th at 11:30 at night. Nashville and Club America. You got that to look forward to. So get your naps in on next Tuesday. They get the winner of Tigres in Seattle. Tigres 2-goal lead. They've got the advantage. So Seattle's got some work to do at home. That's the right-hand side of the bracket. Cruz Azul, LAFC in command after the first leg. If they can hang on to it, they're the early game. They're the early game next Tuesday, by the way, 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock and 11:30. So 9 o'clock next Tuesday for the second leg of Cruz Azul and LAFC. Then it is Toluca and LAG in Carson next Wednesday simultaneously. Yikes. Okay, so since they're both West Coast games, Toluca and LAG's at 11 o'clock. Tigres and Seattle's 11:30. Both of them are next Wednesday night to determine who makes it into the Final Four. But as of right now, looking like Toluca and LAFC on the left, and then it's looking like anybody's guess, but obviously you'd lean toward Club America in the matchup with Nashville and Tigres and Seattle on the 15th of April. So that's your CONCACAF. That's your CONCACAF grouping in the Final Four. And obviously, once again, thanks to our friends at the Los Angeles Galaxy for that one. And always cool to hear the call of Joe Totino. Joe Totino has been he is a part of the fabric of LAFC since LAG. Wow, since Galaxy have been around day one, and it's really cool to hear him walk you through what goes on with the LA Galaxy, and to be able to have those voices that are a part of this. Very, very cool. Very, very cool as a part of all of that. So, tall order for LAG, not insurmountable. Tall order for Seattle, not insurmountable because you're going home. It's all in play for Nashville and for Club America. And then LAFC is in control over Cruz Azul. They just have to not step on a rake or be like Daffy Duck going down the tree line in the Robin Hood cartoon. So that was kind of what you're staring at from last night in CONCACAF. A lot of goals on the board, work to do for 3 of the 4. So yesterday in the Libertadores and the Sudamericana, going in through what happened, Puerto Cabello gets the big surprise, knocking off Atletico Paranaense. Sorry. They were minus 120 going in. Puerto Cabello, goals in the 16th and the 39th, and they hung on. They were plus 333. They get the win. Puerto Cabello with the shock win over Atletico Paranaense. They win that one 2-1. That was the late game last night in Copa Sudamericana. You also had last night, and we'll get into the matches coming up in a bit, Blooming and River Plate finished at 1-1. River Plate finished with 10, and Blooming kind of had their chances. Sebastian Driussi, you remember him, scored in the 35th for River Plate. Blooming scored in the 53rd, and it was goalless for the rest of it. Minus 238 River Plate going in. Blooming was a plus 600, so the draw got it at a plus 350. Red card in the match went to Lucas Martinez Corta, who played the sum total of 5 minutes. Got a 3 on a scale of 1 to 10 on SofaScore. He was one of the center backs for River Plate, and literally he had one foul, a red card, and see you later. Red card, see you later. Bye. So a minus 238 going in, and it was a 1-1 draw. You had to play 85 minutes with 10 men. River Plate did not fare well in day number 1 of the Sudamericana. Also yesterday, Torque over Gremio by the score of 1-0. Olimpia over Audax Italiano by the score of 2-0. And Cuenca over Santos by the score of 1-0. A lot of different groups were in play. They had like one match from each group go on yesterday. And so now you've got, with those matches in the barn, you now have the next go-round of matches that are going to be happening, and it's going to be next week. So it is another 5 days before things start to kick back in. Sao Paulo and O'Higgins, Gremio and Deportivo Riestra, Vasco and Audax Italiano, Santos and Recoleta, Palestino and Torque. That is on the 14th. So that is that is your next go-round of what is up in the fixtures. We are waiting, obviously, for Carabobo, Bragantino, and Macará and America, and Botafogo and Caracas, and Juventud and Cienciano. So keeping an eye on those 4. Those are today, actually. So nothing like looking at something that doesn't tell you what the date is. Anyway, okay, so 6 o'clock today, Cienciano and Juventud. Juventud favored at a plus 105. Draw is a plus 230. Cienciano is a plus 280. Also on the board, that one is at the Centenario in Montevideo, Uruguay. Also today, there we go. And you just back out completely. So today, in addition to the other matches that are the matches that are going on today, it is Botafogo and Caracas. That one is in Group E at 8 o'clock, and the numbers there at the Estadio Nilton Santos. Botafogo, huge favorite against Caracas FC at a minus 345. Draws a plus 500. Caracas is a plus 750. So obviously, Botafogo, big honking favorite. No real surprise there. At 8:30, Macará and America in Group A. That one is at the Estadio Bella Vista. Macará is an underdog at a plus 200. America is a plus 188. Draw is a plus 163, as they are the last matchup in Group A. And then you've got the one other matchup, Carabobo and Bragantino. That one is at 8:30. And that one is at the Estadio Misael Delgado. Carabobo is a plus 250. Bragantino favored at a plus 125, and your draw is at a plus 200. So that is your Copa Sudamericana update for today. So Libertadores, and like I said, don't be surprised if Howard Hamilton shows 97, 98, 99, and 100 in short order. Yesterday, La Guaira and Fluminense, a goalless draw. Bolivar finished with 10, losing to Independiente Rivadavia 1-0. Cruzeiro beat Barcelona on the 7th. LDU beat Always Ready on the 7th. Yesterday, Coquimbo Unido and Nacional had a 1-1 draw. Mirassol beat Lanús 1-0. Lanús finishing with 10. Goal by Joao Victor from Mirassol in the 60th. And it was Mirassol who's actually favored at a plus 115. Lanús on the road was a plus 230. The red card went to Tomas Guidara, who got it late. So in the grand scheme of things, really didn't matter a whole lot in the rhythm of the match. But Mirassol scores with 30 to go, and that would do it. Mirassol with the win over 10-man Lanús. Independiente Medellin and Estudiantes a 1-1 draw. Flamengo over Cusco by the score of 2-0. Junior Barranquilla and Palmeiras a 1-1 draw. Sporting Cristal knocked off Cerro Porteño by the score of 1-0. Felipe Vizeu gets the goal in the 82nd minute for Cerro Porteño, and that was at the Estadio Nacional de Lima. The red card in the match for Cerro Porteño went to Cecilio Dominguez, and he played the sum total of 43 minutes before he got his red card. Your updates, and I'm trying to see if there's any updates for folks that we might know. Yoshi Yotun played 60 minutes for Sporting Cristal. Luis Abramos on the bench and did not participate in the match for Cristal, as they would get the win over 10-man Cerro Porteño by the score of 1-0. Also on the board today, Rosario Central and Independiente del Valle. That one is at 6 o'clock. I don't care about cigar smoking. Pop-up windows. UCV and Libertad is also at 6. Platense and Corinthians is at 8. Santa Fe and Peñarol is at 10 o'clock tonight. So it's a pretty busy evening for Group H and Group E tonight in this particular round of the Libertadores, as they are getting things squared away, and then they come back in 5 days' time, and you go back to Group A, B, F, C, and D, and B, and everybody. So it's like almost every group has something happening in 5 days' time: G, B, D, C, F, B, and A. So that's going to happen in 5 days' time. So that's your Libertadores and your Sudamericana update. And what you can also do, once again, listen to the Howard Hamilton Soccer Metrics Copa Libertadores podcast here on the network. So set your notifications as Howard walks you through everything going on in Libertadores. What are we watching today? Well, we'll let you know. Soccer on TV, it's got a schedule to it. And we get to give that to you courtesy of our friends at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Helps us out, helps you out, helps them out. Because, once again, you get to add more matches to everything you're already watching. With Fanatis, you get all the BNs, and I mean all the BNs, which means you get Turkish League, French League, Polish League, you get Libertadores, you get Sudamericana, you get the LPF out of Argentina, you get Liga 1 Max Pro out of Peru, you get a lot of the A divisions and the B divisions in South America, you get CAF, you get AFCON, you get Champions League from Africa. All of that at Fanatis. You get TVV if you want to add Venezuela, but if you've got a cable system in particular, they've got it on theirs. If you want to add Venezuela, you can. Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. So your soccer on TV, it is Libertadores, 2 matches on BN, and then in between that, they have Macará and America de Cali at 8:30 from Sudamericana. Once again, that's on BN. Rosario Central, IDV at 6. Macará, America de Cali at 8:30. Santa Fe and Peñarol after in progress. Fox Soccer Plus has the league we don't talk about at noon. BN and Español simulcasting their 3 matches. Fox Deportes simulcasting the league that we don't talk about. Europa League at 3 o'clock on 2NA, simulcast on Unimas, Bologna and Aston Villa. Fox ONE has the noon match from the league we don't talk about. Paramount Plus has all 3 Europa League matches, all 4 Conference League matches. All 3 Europa League matches are at 3 o'clock. All Conference League matches, Rayo Vallecano, AEK is at 12:45. All the others are at 3 o'clock. Crystal Palace, Fiorentina, Mainz, Strasbourg, Shakhtar Donetsk, and AZ Alkmaar. Paramount Plus has CONCACAF qualifiers on the women's side, both accessible at 8 o'clock. Haiti and Anguilla, as well as Panama and Aruba. So those are going on today on the women's side, and that is all that's on the TVs, courtesy of our friends at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Now, gossip, rumor, and innuendo. We've got to get into that and let you know what else is going on when it comes to the news. Ricky now this is me asking Ricky a question. I have not seen anything from Texas A&M yet. And so looking at Texas A&M, is it official with you or no? The Twitters are thinking. So I do not see anything involving Texas A&M. Most recently, latest Texas A&M. Latest maybe. Brady Hart completing a pass and Sports Talk Radio in Central Texas. So to answer our questions, I haven't seen anything yet. Ricky, have you? So we'll see. We're keeping an eye literally on Texas A&M. Okay, so Ricky also in the Road to 26 series, Bolivia, Scotland at Red Bull, Brazil, Egypt in Cleveland, and Argentina, Honduras at Texas A&M. And thank you, Abby, in checking your connection to see if the connection has a lefty driver, because I'm a Callaway guy and I need a new driver. Okay, so roadto26.com. So roadto26.com is where Ricky has found the things. New matches announced. Sign up for pre-sale presented by Turkish Airlines. Well, good for them. Okay, so matches. Red Bull, June the 6th, Bolivia and Scotland. Brazil and Egypt, June the 6th at the Bank in Cleveland. June 6th, Argentina and Honduras at Kyle Field. You got to have the core there. You got to have the band. Argentina and Iceland on the 9th at Jordan Hare. Those four. Road to 26, presented by Turkish Airlines. So we will keep an eye on all of that stuff. Definitely. So interesting matches on the Road to 26. So we'll definitely keep an eye out for those. All right, now, as we were saying, gossip, rumor, and innuendo before we get out of here, plus any other news that might be going on. I don't know if you've heard that there's this tournament going on in Augusta, and we're keeping an eye on it. They had the ceremonial teeing offs this morning, and keeping an eye on that. Luis Suarez is open to an Uruguay return for the World Cup, so keep an eye on that. Harry Maguire admits that it's a big summer for Manchester United recruitment as he signs his contract extension at a lesser rate. Hansi Flick is furious over a bizarre clear red. Sam Marsden at the four-letter. Flick is raging. Barcelona should have been given a penalty, and Marc Pubil should have been sent off after his team loses 2-0. Julian Alvarez and Sorloth score after Pau Cubarsí sent off for Barca. Decision not to award Barca a second-half penalty that infuriated Flick. Pubil, already on a booking, stopped the ball with his hand in the area after Juan Musso had appeared to take a goal kick. Flick post-match. I don't know what happens in the situation when the keeper starts the game. The defender stops the ball with his hand and plays again. For me, it's a clear red card. Well, a second yellow card and a penalty. VAR can explain why it's not. I can't believe it's not a red card. Feels not good. Feels unfair. We have to accept it. We'll fight next Tuesday. VAR had intervened in the sending off of Cubarsí. Initially, he'd been shown a yellow for the last man challenge on Giuliano Simeone, upgraded to a red on review. So, Hansi Flick, we'll fight. It's not done yet. It's far away, maybe, the semifinal, but we have a chance and we will try. So, you've got a mad Hansi Flick having to go to the Wander Metropolitano and try and rescue the deficit that's there. Now, transfer talk before we get out of here and look at any other news that we might be missing. Camavinga and Alexis could swap clubs. Manchester City joined the race to sign 16-year-old Hertha Berlin defensive midfielder Kenneth Eichhorn. Real Madrid and Liverpool working on deals for Camavinga and Alexis to swap clubs, according to Team Talk. Reds have been longtime admirers of Camavinga. Los Blancos planning a reshuffle in their midfield. Spanish side pushing to sign Rodri, but also want another midfielder alongside Enzo Fernandez, PSG's Vitinha, being considered as well as Alexis. Manchester City joining the race to sign Eichhorn, according to Fabrizio Romano. Considered one of the top young midfielders in Europe and has impressed in the Bundesliga despite his age. City might have made a habit, according to the four-letter, targeting young players in recent windows. Kevin Sullivan, Sverre Nypan, Vitor Reis having all signed as teenagers. AC Milan and Juve among the clubs keen to land Robert Lewandowski, as reported by Nicola Schira. That's why I wanted to ask our buddy Max Anderson about it. Both Serie A clubs interested in bringing in the 37-year-old if he leaves the Blaugrana as a free. Still hasn't decided on his future. No official offers yet. Genuine interest from Italy, despite the Poland international's high salary. Borussia Dortmund weighing up another move to sign Jadon Sancho, currently on loan at Villa, according to Bild. Moved to Dortmund from Manchester City's academy in 2017, allowed to join Manchester United for €85 million in 2021. 3 loan moves, including back to Dortmund in 24, set to leave the club on a free. Dortmund are also watching Hoffenheim striker Fisnik Aslani, reportedly are not interested in Nick Voltemade, and the club's sporting director Lars Ricken said, quote, "We are currently looking at a lot of players and analyzing them, assessing whether they can improve our team. We're doing the same with Jadon," end quote. Chelsea very impressed with the progress of Werder Bremen center back Karim Koulibaly and have entered the race to sign him this summer, as reported by Florian Plettenberg. Koulibaly reportedly being scouted by top clubs Real Madrid, United, Newcastle, PSG, Napoli. Werder Bremen hoping to bring in a fee of around €50 million from clubs looking to sign the international. Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs, and talks about the prospect of signing Bournemouth center back Marcos Senesi from caught offside. Everton, not expected to trigger the £50 million clause to permanently sign Jack Grealish, confident that they can reach an agreement for him to stay, courtesy of The Athletic. Juve and Atleti want to sign Ederson, but Atalanta won't lower their valuation of around €40 million for the midfielder. That's from Tuttosport. West Ham have no interest in letting Mateus Fernandez leave, despite interest from Manchester United et al. Team talk. Arsenal stepping up their interest in signing a center back as they look at Real Madrid's Victor Valdepenas and Como's Jacobo Ramon from caught offside. Central defender Gleison Bremer could leave Juve in the summer. Spurs are interested, Gazzetta dello Sport. Real Madrid's Gonzalo Garcia has emerged as a serious option for Newcastle United as they look to sign a striker. That's Team Talk. Spurs pushing to sign James Trafford for Manchester City. Villa set their sights on a deal to sign Crescencio Somerville from West Ham in the summer. Also from Football Insider, Dortmund keeper Gregor Kobel, more likely to move to Newcastle than he is to join Chelsea. AC Milan willing to offer Leon Goretzka a 3-year deal worth at least €5 million a season, as they want to knock competition away to sign the Bayern Munich midfielder as a free agent this year. That's from Gazzetta dello Sport. 3-way race among Napoli, AC Milan, and Roma for Kerem Alibegovic, who's been re-signed by Bayer Leverkusen from Salzburg. That's from Calcio Mercato. Napoli have put Benfica's Richard Rios at the top of the list of players to strengthen their midfield. No official offer submitted yet from Sky Italia. Forest are hopeful they can sign Internazionale midfielder David Fratesi for under the €40 million agreed in January from Football Insider. And Freiburg interested in Leeds midfielder Ayo Tanaka, leaning toward a move in the Premier League. That is from Florian Plettenberg. So that is the rundown of all of the gossip and the rumor. Enjoy your day. Honduras has yet to post that they are heading in that direction once again, playing at Kyle Field. But road to 26. Road to26.com. Messi and friends, was just Messi and Argentina friends. Jordan-Hare Stadium, Iceland, June the 9th. 3 other matches, including one at Kyle Field with Honduras as a part of that run. And looking forward to seeing what the SEC does to roll out the, it just means more carpet, to Argentina at Kyle Field and Jordan-Hare Stadium. You've got to have the band. You've got to have the Fight Nagy band. You've got to have the core. And you've got to have Oria on a flyover. And you've got to have Nova on the big screen for a PK. You've got to have that. Cannot wait for all of that. That's going to be fun. So that is the rundown of today. And thanks for everybody that was looking at everything that we've been talking about today: CONCACAF, Champions League, Europa League, Conference League, Libertadores, Sudamericana, all the previews, all the teams in trouble. Thanks to Max Anderson for Oppo Research as we get you ready for Atlanta and Chicago coming up on the weekend. Let me say hi to everybody before we do get out of here. Let's see. Just a lefty driver. Just a lefty driver. That's what I need. And so keep me posted on that. So morning Kefsey, morning Abby, morning Ricky. Let's see who else is here this morning. Let's see. And Abby, I hope you find gas at someplace. Let's see. Leaving Warner Robins, Perry's got a lot. And then after Perry, you're kind of stuck till mile marker 101 where it's Cordeal. So that's what I remember. So morning forecard. Did I see the odds for Atlanta and Columbus? So juice boxes right now for Atlanta and Columbus. I mean, you mean Chicago? Hang on. US. Major League Soccer. Here we go. So odds right now. Chicago, a minus 164. Well, I've even got it higher. Chicago's a minus 164, draws a plus 333, and Atlanta in the composite, courtesy of Odds Portal, is a plus 430. That's probably going to come down. That's going to come down between now and match time. So morning four card, by the way. Let's see. There's Ricky. There's four card. There's Abby and Kefsey. And we botted you, pal. Morning ropes. And Abby and Ricky and Ropes, and that's everybody who's in on the Twitch pitch. But as always, it's great to see all of you folks and what is on your collective minds this morning. So let me go through the papers really quickly, see if there's anything else that I might have missed. We talked about Leicester, and let's see, what else am I missing? More than 23,000 sold for the Indigenous Peoples match in Vancouver on the weekend. That's very, very cool. All right. So we are working on those. Got a lot of bolos this morning. Okay. So worldwide, Inside World Football helping us out with a couple of things. Flamingo once again winning at Cusco, and FIFA unveiling Canada celebrates to spread the energy in Canada. You have the quarterfinal stage in the AFC Women's Champions League. You have the MLS penning a deal to get greater insights into brand exposure and fan engagement. Fanatics and Panini going back and forth when it comes to trading cards. And Bulgarian side, and I'll end on this. Bulgarian side Bureau's owners are under fire from the local mayor. That's never good. So when if you own a team, the top flight side Bureau, for a lack of homegrown players, issue of not enough homegrown players has been highlighted by the mayor of Stara Zagora, Živko Todorov, who voiced his strong disapproval over local club Bureau's heavy reliance on foreign players. Todorov's comments came after Bureau faced CSKA Sofia without a single Bulgarian player in the starting 11. Since June of 23, Parva Ligo Bureau has been 100% owned by American sports agency CRD Sport, although the local municipality remains a key supporter of the club, infrastructure, and youth academy. Mayor Todorov emphasized that while the city will always stand by the team, the owners must seriously reconsider their long-term vision. Quote, "What is happening in the club at the moment is not right, to have not a single Bulgarian in the squad. We support everything the Veterans Club is doing and the changes being made by the Bulgarian Football Union regarding youth football. We hope that with combined efforts, we can make the continued development of young talents possible, and this is a conversation we'll be having in depth from now on." Mayor highlighted that the municipality had maintained Bureau's facilities in perfect condition, his words, stepped in to revive the youth academy after it was nearly abandoned, argued the identity and spirit of Bureau are tied to its history and local community, which is being overlooked by the current, quote, victory at any cost approach. Todorov expressed hope that the team would avoid relegation, but insisted that a change in concept is vital for the club's future, suggested that integrating Bulgarian players would not only honor tradition, but unlock greater financial and moral support from the local business community and the public. That is from Alexander Krasimirov at Inside World Football. So on that note, catch your breath, people. Very, very busy time. A lot of cups, a lot of games, and games in the SEC. And Jarrett mentioned on the Twitters, by the way, on the SDH Twitter. So you're looking at back in 2019. I think this was on Monday night, actually, for soccer over there. Or it might have been on the morning show. I can't remember. Proper SEC stadia and matchups back in 2019. So as Jarrett says, never wrong, just early. I'll see if I can find that. I'll see if I can find that show from 2019. That'd be kind of fun to see if I can figure that one out. So very, very cool. Argentina comes to the SEC because it just means more. Back at it again, 9:05 in the morning tomorrow. See if we can catch up with our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring at 9:30. Steve Cangelosi joining us at 10. Nico Moreno joining us at 10:30. And we're off and running on the weekend, getting you ready for everything going on in Major League Soccer. Look at all your juice boxes, look at your matchups, get you ready. Kanji and Danny are calling the Saturday Showcase with Charlotte and Nashville. So we'll get his thoughts on what he has seen so far and what study hall has been like for him. So since it is the end of yet another show, thanks for dropping by as you always do here on SDH AM. Back in a little less than 22. Thanks to all of you who joined us, whether you're watching in quiet or hanging out in the Twitch pitch or both. Back at it again, less than 22. From all of us to all of you, thanks for being a part of everything. Thanks to Max Anderson for being a great guest and doing Oppo research for us when it comes to the Chicago Fire, letting us in on his wedding plans, and knowing that his producers, his four-legged producers at home, are very, very loud, otherwise known as doing their job. For everybody here at SDH, play it safe, everybody. Mucha plats, y'all. Enjoy the content that we have across all of the networks and all the platforms. Since it's the end of the show, that means I get to do this. Back at it again, 9:05, Freestyle Friday in the morning.